Good morning. Uh, Today we will be talking about how you can revise your existing policy into the new template. So the old template that we were using before does not reflect your objectives in your unit or your department or even in a hospital-wide policy. Activities or strategies are indicated throughout the document. They are not clear, and sometimes you miss them because they are buried somewhere else. And the roles and responsibilities are copy and paste from other policies. For instance, you'd notice that in our policies, you have a generic role for the medical center chief that they can implement additions to the policy if needed. So these things make our policy documents very, uh, shall we say, very unwieldy. They are difficult to understand. The activities that we need to do are not indicated properly. So that's why there was a need to move to a new template. So in moving to the new template, you will need to answer 8 guide questions, and I've tackled this in another video. So the 8 guide questions are as follows. Does your office, unit, department, committee have a general policy? Is there a requirement for a specific policy? For a general policy, what is the purpose of the office, unit, department, or committee? What are its objectives? For a specific policy, what is the purpose of the policy? What are its objectives? What are the activities that your office, unit, department, committee needs to do in order to meet the objectives of the policy? What are the procedures that are contained in these activities? What are the guiding principles that are common in those activities that need to be emphasized? Who is responsible for the specific procedures, activities, and principles of the policy? And what are the regulatory, statutory, and standard references that are relevant to the objectives, activities, procedures, and principles of the policy? So, how do we approach a rewrite of our policies? This is really easy to approach, and because every day you know the activities that are being done in your unit or department, and even though we do these activities on a regular basis, the objectives of doing these activities are usually not defined or poorly expressed, and they are not actually being reflected in the policy documents. So that's why we need to rewrite them, to express them and rewrite them so that they are properly expressed. So one possible solution is to approach this problem by listing all activities, programs, procedures, and interventions listed throughout the policy. And then link some or all of them to, to common objectives and attribute roles and responsibilities to APPI. So the real example here is the data privacy policy, which was revised in 2019. At the time of recording, this is still within the 3-year validity for the policy. No? So even with the new policy guidelines, we still prescribe a 3-year validity for our policies. So in our old data privacy policy, we have no objective stated. The activities for data privacy are not clear or are scattered throughout the document. And there are many boilerplate statements that are not directly related to policy, objectives, or activities. So this is an example of the thought process that went through when I was revising the policy, data privacy policy, and you will see that I've written down the APPI on top here, and then based on the APPI, I also enumerated some objectives, no? So the APPI, as ranked in order of importance. So in the earlier slide, you would see that I've ranked them from 1 to 9. These are the following. So these activities are scattered throughout the old policy, data privacy policy, no? And these APPIs can be linked to 4 objectives, no? So we are working using the APPIs to identify the objectives. So there are 4 objectives for data privacy. Number 1 is to uphold the data rights of all data subjects of this hospital. Number 2, to comply with the provisions of the Republic Act, the IRR, NPC issuances, and other regulations related to data privacy. Third would be to foster and maintain awareness on data privacy, including how we safeguard data privacy rights among employees and data subjects. And number 4 is to minimize, if not eliminate, risks that threaten data privacy rights. So this slide shows the same APPI, and they are linked to the objectives. So some APPIs are linked to 1 objective or 2 objectives, or even all objectives, no? And then after that, you would be able to identify who is responsible for the specific activities, projects, procedures, and interventions. So this is a more clearer table, no, of the APPIs, as well as the link for the objectives and who is responsible, no? So you can identify who is responsible through for a specific activity. Okay, so data breach and security incident management is handled by the data breach response team. As an example, the designation of a data protection officer and data privacy committee is under the role of the medical center chief, etc., etc. So the result is now your policy has objectives. The activities are clearer, and you can attribute specific roles and responsibilities to specific people, no? And these roles and responsibilities are relevant to policy. So for instance, in the new policy, unit and department heads will take care of awareness building activities, compliance monitoring, holding up privacy impact assessment, etc., etc. They are enumerated clearly in their roles and responsibilities. So this is my final slide, and I hope that again I was able to help you in reformatting your existing policies to the new template, so that we will have a more coherent set of policy documents that everyone can understand, that have specific objectives and activities. So again, if you have any questions, you can approach the Quality Assurance Office or myself, and we would be happy to address any concern that you may have in the policy development or revision process. So have a great day, everyone, and thank you for listening.